Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Underworld Blood Wars. So this movie came out in 2016 and is the last in the Underworld trilogy. And Blood Wars it had a budget of $35 million and only made $81 million. This movie sucks, and I mean it sucks. This franchise went out with a whimper. Now, for the first time ever, this movie was directed by a female, Anna Forrester. But the movie doesn't suck because a female directed it. It sucks because she's known for directing TV and not movies. In fact, this was the first movie she ever directed, and she only directed one more movie. Normally, she just directs TV episodes. And well, when you watch this movie that's only 91 minutes long, it doesn't even feel like a theatrical movie. It doesn't even really feel like a TV movie. It feels more like a TV episode, but it feels kind of like a TV movie and stuff. Everything is bad with this. The acting is bad. The characters are bad. The direction is bad. The story, which is pretty bleak, is bad. And the action is bad. The CGI is bad. The pacing is bad. Like everything, and I hate to be so negative, but everything in this movie just sucks. And what's even worse is that Kate Beckinsale, Celine, isn't even the main focus of the freaking movie. Theo James, David is. And because originally she wasn't attached to it and he was, and they said he was going to take over as lead. Then later on she joined. But by that time, I guess the script was already written, because it really seems like she was kind of getting tired with these movies. Heck, she doesn't even consider herself an action star. Now, the first three movies are awesome. The fourth movie is only good because of the action. And it's the action in the fourth movie that pretty much greenlit this fifth movie, because the action was top notch out of all the movies when it came to that of the fourth movie. But the story was all over the place. And that's because Scott Speedman didn't want to return. Once again, he didn't want to return. Not only that, but India Isley, who played Eve, her daughter from the fourth movie, she didn't even like reprise her role in this. They had to get a stand-in for her at the very end, and they had to use archive footage. They had to get a stand-in for Michael, and they killed Michael off in this movie, off screen in a flashback. And when it comes to India, when somebody asked her a long time ago, why wasn't she in this movie? Her reply simply was, ask Kate. You can take that any way you want. Now, the blonde lady from the first movie, who, I forget her name, Erica, that's it, Erica. She literally said that Lynn Wiseman, the person who created this entire franchise, said that Kate didn't want her to come back for none of the sequels. So maybe that's probably why India didn't come back. Either way, how are you going to now make a movie without Eve, without Michael, and base it on like David's character, who's not that interesting from the fourth or the fifth movie? They try to make him interesting for this with a secret reveal, but it's so bleak and last minute, it just feels tacked on. Now, the thing that made these movies great, because the critics have always skewered these movies, but they still have a cult following because they was really good, is Romeo and Juliet with vampires and werewolves. That is how the first three movies have always been. The first and third are direct adaptions of Romeo and Juliet with a vampire who's in love with like a werewolf and stuff, and they're not allowed to be together because the crossing of the two is forbidden because both species hate each other. The second one, while still Romeo and Juliet, is not Romeo and Juliet in terms of a couple, but more of siblings. It's two brothers who love each other, not that kind of love each other, but like they've been separated for centuries and they just want to reunite and rule the world and conquer and everything. So it always had that Romeo Juliet, and not my camera over, that Romeo and Juliet dynamic, but this movie does not have that. Now the thing about this movie, it tries its extreme best to replicate the first movie. There's a coup, there's a vampire who's in love with a werewolf, there's some genetic stuff going on with hybrids and everything. And it's like a power upgrade, but yet it's so half-handed and stuff. It's just like rushed and doesn't feel earned in no way, shape, or possible. There's even now a new hybrid of a werewolf, and it looks terrible. It looks like a Sasquatch with a human-looking face. And what's even worse is the CGI, like I said before, got worse. The transformation of the humans into werewolves looks terrible. Some of the werewolves are CGI, and you can totally tell. And what's even worse is the action. Now, the action in the first movie, there wasn't that much, but what was given was really cool. The second one had great action. The third had kind of like the first movie action, where it wasn't that great, but it was still something to look at. The fourth movie had amazing action, and this movie has action like the Matrix movie, except for no slow motion. There's even a scene that I seen ripped off of Cleopatra 2525, a TV show that was produced by Robert Tabbert and that of Sam Raimi. And with that, it's like when two people are fighting in a cage, the people run up the cage and they're standing parallel in the cage. So it's like, okay, you have a wall, right? And somebody is horizontal standing on the wall, like Spider-Man. Since when can they do that in this movie franchise and stuff? And not only that, but the thing about the original movies is that they were more grounded. See, all of this started because one man had somehow he became immortal because of a disease, right? There was a plague going around his town. The plague affected him, but it made him immortal instead of killing him. He had two kids. The virus passed on to the two kids, twins. One twin got bit by a wolf outside in the woods, and the other one got bit by a bat. This is what created werewolves and vampires. So for the most part, it's always been more scientific, biological, and sci-fi, with a little bit of spooky supernatural stuff in there when it comes to that of genetic memories. Basically, what you do is you bite somebody, drink their blood, and you can start seeing their memories and stuff. That was really the only supernatural element to there. And so, it's always been that way, right? Then you get to this movie and they brought on the supernatural. Not only did they bring on the supernatural, this felt like a cross between Blade and Buffy. Because Celine even rides a motorcycle in the beginning of this movie, kind of like Blade, and then the rest of it's kind of like Buffy. It's all about supernatural stuff. There's a brand new coven of vampires that just came completely out of nowhere. They live up north, and they're known as, I think, the Nomad, the Nordic coven. And they're really weird and different. They live up north where it's snowy, right? They don't wear modern clothes. They wear barbarian clothes, and they use barbarian weapons. They wear white fur coats, and all of their hair is platinum white. Or just straight up white. I'm about to say platinum blonde, but it's like white, and it's never explained why. Not only that, they do a weird mummy ritual, and they can move super fast, faster than a vampire does that flash type running. But when they run really fast, you see smoke behind them, kind of like a resonance echo of a person's body. It's like smoke, and it's weird. This has never been shown before because it's always said there have always been 3 covens and everything. Marcus Amelia and Victor, and they all be the same type of vampires, and the way they dress is that of like goth, almost modern Victorian looking clothes. Think of Hellfire Club from X-Men and stuff, but all black. And they even brought back like a mansion and like, because they really tried to recapture the first movie, the mansion, the way the mansion looks like inside. But now they use holographic fighting, sparring buddies and stuff. So when the vampires train, they're fighting holograms. When the heck did that ever happen? And not only when did it happen, but what the heck happened to the premise of the fourth movie? In the fourth movie, humans found out about werewolves and vampires, and they all had to go underground. The werewolves had it worse, but the werewolves have finally turned into like that of the villain, while the vampires just hide on out. After about 10 years, the humans thought they got rid of them all and stopped chasing them down. Then the whole premise of that ended and it just went more into like underworld type stuff. Now, apparently all the covens have come into one, so it's mostly just Amelia's coven that has survived, with a couple of scragglers from Victor and Marcus' coven and everything. And so like it's mostly Amelia's coven, but David's father is no longer ruling them. Another man named Thomas is, and there's a female vampire who wants to take over and everything. And I'm just kind of like, oh crap, they're doing that crap from the first movie again, where that happened. And so, Amelia, I think her name is, what's her name? I think it's Almia, something like that. Or Altmia, something. It's something like that. She wants to take over as like the head vampire. So we got another coup thing going on. And in this movie, now, all of a sudden, the vampires are hunting down Celine, and so are the werewolves. The vampires want to kill her for killing Victor, and the werewolves, they just want Eve because they want her blood for some reason. But we don't really find that out until the middle of the movie. And then so it's this kind of like, so she's on the run from her own people and stuff. And so that evil lady I told you about, she just wants her to die and all this other crap. And Theo rescues her only to get her, she got hurt. Because now there's a new virus out that the vampires have created. And this virus, if you use it on a vampire, they become incapacitated. Why not use it for the werewolves? I don't get it. Also, that vampire lady is trying to figure out how to survive in the sunlight. Apparently, they don't know of Celine, who can walk around in the sunlight. So can David, because he drank her blood in the fourth movie. And so there's a huge secret. As they go to the Nordic, like, coven and everything out in, like, the snowy place, David finds out that, oh, Amelia is my mom. So yeah, he's next in line for the coven and he wants to fight for it. And so he drinks a little bit of his mom blood that's in the ring, a drop of, to find out, yeah, it's true. So next thing you know, there is a vampire who's in love with the head werewolf. The head werewolf is Marius. And he has a huge scar. And we've always seen him drink blood, but we don't know who blood it is. And so, oh no, wait. No. Is it Lena? Lena's the evil vampire lady. Somebody, Mia, something like that, is played by Daisy Head. She is the daughter of Anthony Head, or is it her? I can't remember. I think it's Head. The dude from Buffy who played Giles, that's his daughter. This is the second time I've ever saw her in anything. And so she is like a spy. She's in love with Marius, and so she's been betraying her people, and Lena finds out. So she stabs Celine, and Celine is dying. And so like Celine just goes under the ice to let the cold slow her body down and everything. And so next thing you know, you got the barbarian vampires fighting the werewolf people, and they're using barbarian weapons against machine guns. That's so stupid. Well, of course they get the butt whooped and everything. And so at some point, David heads back to the coven. He's all like, I challenge you for the throne, and I'm here to save my people, and blah, 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 and stuff like that. But then the werewolves show up. But then next thing you know, Celine has went through the spiritual thing that now gives her even more superpowers. And her hair turns a different color. The bottom of the hair is like white tips. So now they giving her like a snowy white fur coat. And so she runs all the way back to where it is, the mansion is, and she starts like fighting the bad guys and stuff, right? And so David ends up fighting like, the evil vampire lady. And he tricks her by, opening the shutters, and she been using experimental blood that makes her able to walk through like, sunlight. Whose experimental blood she been using? Heck if we know. But then when she sees that, she's like, oh my God, it worked. Only for him to stab her in the back through the mouth. Similar to how Lucian did Victor in the third movie. So they had to copy that. So then Celine is like fighting the uber vampire dude. And a drop of his blood went in her mouth in a very slow motion Matrix kind of way, which is stupid. And then she sees what happens to Michael with the stand-in, who doesn't look nothing like Scott Speedman. Turns out he killed Michael and used his blood. So he was able to kill a hybrid. So now the first movie has no meaning, and neither does the second. So ain't no way. She's pissed, and she runs up behind him and pulls out his spleen. Then David chops off the head and shows it to the werewolves, all like, I killed your leader, leave. And they just straight up leave. And so now after that, both covens have decided to come together and form 3 new elders. The new elders is Celine, because she's super vampire. David, because he's kind of like a prince. And I think Lena is the white haired vampire or whatever. In a way, the good vampire lady with the white hair, she's gonna be the third leader. And then Celine goes out to the snowy area where Eve walks up to her. Eve in this movie didn't want nothing to do with her and literally left her a note talking about, I don't want nothing to do with you. Wow, that's great from the 4th movie. This movie just sucks, man. Like, it really sucks. I made sure to link the names of the 3 vampire women names I can't remember in a picture in the video. But see, here's the thing about this movie. Since the 4th movie, they didn't know really what they was going to do because Scott Speedman didn't want to come back. But they found a way around that by creating a daughter, but it was still a half-handed story. Now you're in this 5th movie, and 2 of your leads are not back, and one of them was set up from the 4th movie. So do you know what they should have done? They should have set this movie in the past. They should have set it in the past before Celine ever met Michael. Like maybe the Victorian era or something like that, 1700s, 1600s. And show what, her being a death dealer, and hunting down vampires and crap hunting down werewolves and crap like that. If they could not do what they needed to do for this movie, it would have been a whole lot more visually interesting, and it still would allow, Kate Beckinsale to be that of the lead. But alas, we got what we got. And it is literally the last movie in the entire franchise, and it went out with 2 whimpers and everything. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.